Presenting Channeling Erik's Hour of Enlightenment.
Hello, everyone. This is Erik's mom, and we have, of course, our wonderful co-host, Michelle Gray at thehealingh-art.com. Sorry, I'm using my cell phone because this stupid Blog Talk Radio, it's like you have to upgrade your Chrome, your Google Chrome, whatever. So I did, and it still didn't have something called Direct Connect, so I have to just dial it manually. It's okay. We're going to talk about, Erik, I love you, by the way.
Because I love you, Mom. I love you so much.
Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk about how we can help our empathic and highly sensitive children, to be their best selves, to reach their highest potential. And Erik is going to share how. So, Erik, you've got the mic, dude.
He says, okay. He's ready to go. He says, hi, everybody. And so he's just saying that, empathic kids, and for those of us that are listening that have empathic kids, I mean, this will help kids in general, but especially our super sensitive kids. And this is something near and dear to me because I was very, and still am, very empathic, and so are my children. And so this is something that Erik has really helped me with a great deal. And so he says, for all of us that have empathic kids, just to understand, he says, our children, especially our empathic children, are living with this heightened sensitivity. And he says the communication is mostly in the body and feeling. So there's verbal, but there's also nonverbal communication like facial expression and sudden shifts in body language. And he says the empathic child picks up on all of the subtleties. And it's so true. So for any of you that were empathic as a child and, that observe our own children, I remember being a child and I used to know, I'd watch to protect myself because I had a grade 1 teacher that was very, she used to slam a yardstick on the desk and she'd sharpen her chalk and it was awful. She'd sharpen her chalk so it was nice and sharp, and she'd go up and poke us on the head if we weren't paying attention. And she used to have me sit on the floor and I had to do my work on the floor under my desk because I wasn't good enough to sit with the other students.
Oh, my God.
And so it really worked on my self-esteem, but I was so attuned to her behaviors and to the behaviors of the other children in the classroom. And Erik just says that, those sudden shifts in moods and facial expressions and all those things, a lot of empathic kids, and for a lot of us that are empathic and are now grown, we learned and used our empathic ability for self-preservation, to protect ourselves.
How so?
So that we could, so for example, in what I was just sharing with this teacher, I was able to pick up on what other kids were saying, were doing. I could tell when I was being spoken of, or I could tell if the teacher was in a specific type of mood, so I knew how to adapt my behavior. And I learned this very, very quickly. And being a child that was, I kind of floated around other kids. I didn't really become a union in any group with kids. So I was able to adapt myself to whatever my surroundings were so that I could protect myself. It was like protecting vulnerability. So no one ever really knew me because I was continuously, always reading other people all the time.
Right.
So reading
instead of showing
like
your
Erik
own card.
That's right. So I hid myself, pleasing came from, and all of those types of things. And, and I learned it at home as well. And, would learn how to, check to see what mood my parents were in or if I felt safe or not safe. And Erik says this is something that many of us as empaths, we grow up using our empathic ability to keep us safe, to keep us from emotionally safe. And he says, and so this is a superpower, he says, because it's a complex ability that allows a child, an adult, to read and filter data from the environment and from the people.
Wow.
So it's like a continuous filter of this data coming through at all times. And what happens is, as a child, if that child is not made aware of their emotions or taught how to dissect emotions or understand what's mine, what's not mine, what's my responsibility, what happens is then that starts to build up as something that is a problem. So it's like my emotions are now something that I want to push away, or my emotions are something that I'm considering bad because Erik's just adding and saying, because also what tends to come along with it is shame. And so many people, kids, adults, will say you're too emotional because it's not always understood. So it's like something that becomes adapted as a problem in life and becomes
like
that piece of not fully fitting in.
Yeah, don't be so sensitive, you know.
Yeah. And I can't tell you how many times I heard that as a child, over and over and over. Michelle, you need to buck up. Michelle, you need to not be so sensitive. You know, and it was something that really, I was like, but I can't help it. So I just kept thinking something's wrong with me. Like I'm not normal. I'm not right, because why can't I function? Why is everybody else able to function in the world and I can't? So Erik says, so all of that being said, he goes, what can we do as adults?
Yeah.
And he says, what can we do to help our kids, especially if we are empathic adults? And he says, something for each of us to know as empathic adults, the most important thing that we can do for our kids is to understand our own emotions and understand ourselves. Because he says one of the risks, and he goes, and it happens so easily, is we can accidentally, not intentionally, become hyper-focused on our children's emotions and start to project into those and not help our children in that way, because we end up protecting them or trying to shield them.
Like, give me an example,
from
Erik.
hurt.
Yeah, give me an example, Erik.
So Erik says, you know, the child that, say your child is coming home from school every day absolutely exhausted, or feeling like they're not getting along in the classroom, they feel depressed, they feel sad. He says, well, you know, if you're not aware as the parent, as the adult, the guardian of your own emotions, the first thing you might go to that child is, oh, now don't you worry about it. Like, here, I'm going to make you something to eat. I'm going to make you comfortable. We're going to just forget about it. Don't worry about what was said to you.
That would cause eating disorders.
Well, and what Erik is saying is, he says it's not that the intentions are bad. He says the thing is if we don't understand ourselves how to manage our emotions or how to really get into it and understand them, he says then, you know, what we're doing is we're projecting Band-Aids, or we're projecting something else to kind of cover it up, or he says we try to take our children out of the situation. So he says, think of how many parents would move their child out of the school or move from school to school to school because they're having problems in each school. And he says it's not to say that that's not an answer at times, but the thing is he says if your child is feeling in many different situations with other people, taking them to a different location is not going to cure the problem. He says,
of course not.
You really want to.
It'll make them feel like a failure. Well, I couldn't cut it at that school, so they have to send me to another one. Yeah.
Right. So he says, so be aware of yourself. He goes, parents, guardians, grandparents, be aware of yourself. Know how you feel. And he goes, and if you're still learning that, learn it along with your child. He says that's completely okay. So some things that he says that we can do, so aside from, of course, being aware of our own our own self is, he says, depending on the age of your child as well. So let's say, and this is something that is good for all children at any age, but you can kind of adapt it to whatever best works for them. So, for example, Erik says, get into the habit of having some sort of journaling. He says whether it's art journaling, whether it's journaling with words, maybe a little more for an older child like a teenager or preteen. But he says if you can start your child young, have them draw pictures, have them tell stories. He goes, use make-believe to act out the sequences of the day. Because communication is so important, and not only the communication with you and with others, but the communication with themselves, so that they can get into the habit of really understanding, like, draw out a picture. This is the event that took place, and how did that make you feel? He says, take it up with your child. How did that make you feel?
Well, how about you're feeling? I know you're feeling a certain way. Can you draw that feeling? Draw for me how you feel right now. Yes. That helps them delve into their feelings and understand it. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. And he says a lot of empathic children are also very visual as well. And so he says that drawing is a great way to also help them build a tool to show them how to check emotions, so to check whether this is mine or whether this is theirs. And he says, get them in the habit of when they feel something, is this mine? Is this me that feels this, or is this somebody else's? He says, help them understand that energy, help them understand their own feelings, because he says the whole goal into doing this is to identify a situation and identify the emotion that arises with the situation, so that then either we can go to the tools to help us work through the emotion, or we can also go to the tools to help us let go of the emotions that aren't ours. Because he says number one thing we're doing is we're teaching responsibility, self-responsibility with emotions. And he says this is the generation, the children right now are the generation that will be raised with being able to work with their emotions. And he says, and where there will be an introduction, more of an introduction into the school system of emotions and how to deal with them. He's also saying that's part of autism, why we're seeing so many cases of autism as well, because it's the identification of highly sensitive. So something has to be done. It's putting our society into a place of understanding feeling.
Wow, that's
amazing. He says balance too, helping your children understand that all emotions are equal, not just the ones that feel good, even the ones that don't feel so good have a value, have a benefit. Yeah, that it can help us understand. It can help us have compassion. Sometimes it can help us figure out something to do to help someone else. So, and the other thing too is he was just saying, the physical things, the action things that we can do. He says, get your child used to nature, used to using the outdoors as a way to ground and discharge energy. He says daily. Get into the habit of daily, because it's a lifelong habit that will have benefit. Also, breathing as well. Being able to. So the child can learn how to be in present time. Yeah. Yes. And he says breathing right from the diaphragm, right from the stomach. He says, like, good, wholehearted, right from the pit of your stomach breathing. And he says to really relax your whole system and to be able to use that at any time, because your child will have that carried with them no matter where they are. They can use those breathing techniques to help them. The other thing he says too is there might be YouTubes demonstrating how to teach children this, or ones that the child can watch and go along with.
and follow instructions.
And there is, and there's YouTube videos that talk about like different energy practices for children and stuff too. So there's a lot of information out there. And Erik says, the more you start to research and look for information, the more that will come to you. And he also says, make sure that you have an environment. So for your child, that your child has an environment that they can go into, that they feel safe, or also that they can be alone. Because he says it's very exhausting. Empathic kids, more so than others, are extremely exhausted after a day of being with a lot of other people or engaging with other people. So he says make sure that they know that that's a good thing to do, that it's the right thing to do, that when you feel like you need that alone time, here's a safe, comfortable place you can go where you can have that alone time, and to get used to being able to do that.
Classrooms in grade school have little safe spots, like a big beanbag chair with some stuffed animals and stuff for kids who just need a break, and maybe we could have that in our own home too.
Yes. He says that we have the ability to help our children create these environments for themselves and allow them to be part of this process. He says, really work with them. Like what do you think you would like in your quiet space? And how do you imagine this to look like? And where is the place that you go to in your mind that makes you feel comfortable? He says, really allow your children to interact with you and to be part of this, so that they really not only feel the value, but they're doing something that they have a say in, that is theirs, that's part of them. And he says, and like you were saying before, if you're working through this as well, it's something you can do together. It's something you can do as a family.
Absolutely. Great ideas, Erik. But, adults and kids alike, we need to understand that emotions have such value because, for one, they are tools to help us understand not only ourselves but other people. So we need to just listen to them and evaluate them and, what is this feeling teaching me about myself or someone else?
Yes. He says the emotions are the alarm bells that go off, that they're kind of like the roadmap. And so he says the emotions alert us to let us know what's going on. So our body, our emotions, we have so many different ways that will alert us to give us information. So he says the emotions are very important.
Absolutely. But, in our society, or at least in previous generations, emotions are bad. That's a sign of weakness,
Yeah. And very hidden.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Be a man. That kind of thing.
Yes. Think of how many people will turn their head when they start to cry. Think of how many people that you've seen that bury their face, because Erik says that's something that was ingrained into many of us, is not to cry in front of people, not to show our emotion in front of people. And so he says you'll see many people that will continuously apologize for the tears, or they'll hide their face.
I know. That is so true. I don't like crying in public because I am the ugliest crier. Otherwise, I don't mind. I got the ugly
I'm an ugly crier too. I've gotten used to just letting it go when it comes out, though.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. That's really cool. Anything else you want to share?
He just says, empath is the new cool.
All right. I like that. I think there's lots of books that children can read also, and we can read to learn about feelings, etc.
Yes.
So, that's good.
Yeah.
All right, are you ready to take questions then?
He is ready to go. Yes.
Okay. I'm somebody who lives far, far away, in another dimension, and the time zone, it's just not going to work. So this is the only time I really feel comfortable asking people's questions for them. But Emily, and her last name is Bourque, wants to know what she could do to make sure the scalar energy can do what it needs to do. I just didn't know if you had suggestions, and that way you wouldn't have to ask. I didn't know if you had feedback. I don't want to be an idiot and block it. That's so cute. She's sweet. So, Erik, what could she do to make sure scalar energy works on her? Do you feel like
Erik says
he has any subconscious blocks?
Well, Erik says that there is a subconscious, a little bit of a subconscious block with trust. Just trusting that it will work. And so he says it's really important that it's a belief system. And he says, and it doesn't mean it's the conscious belief system. There's a belief system underneath that says, how could this be this good? This is too good to be true. And he says it's really important to understand that you wouldn't have even be led to the scalar if it didn't have benefit for you, if it wasn't here to help you.
Right.
And he says, so the other thing is he says it's really important for you to be able to open up your mind. And there's a little bit of imbalance in the energy, so he's suggesting that you ground yourself. He's also suggesting that you use a mantra of some type, and he says use it before you get up out of bed every day and state that I'm worthy and I accept divine healing now. I'm worthy and I accept divine healing now. Yeah.
Oh, my gosh, that's to the point. Yes, and everybody can heed this as well because, I just got the most amazing testimonial just, like 5 minutes before the show. It's like, wow. And I'm thinking like, really? Are you kidding me right now? So, another thing you can just watch some of the video testimonials because they can inspire you. And, hey, if it works for him, if it works for her, then why can't it work for me? Yeah.
That's right. That's right. This isn't just for other people, Erik says. It's not just for other people. It's not for the people you watch and then it doesn't work for you. He goes, this is for you too. And he says, so, a lot of times he goes, it's just a little bit of that perception switch, but to make sure that you speak it into your existence, to say it to yourself and believe it. And he says, and by doing that, that will help open up. He always uses the example of, I love this analogy where he says, if you've got a one-lane highway that's really small for the energy to work through, he says, well, open that up with your thought, with using affirmations, so you have like a 6-lane highway. So it's nice and open and has nothing holding it back.
Yeah, because those scalar instructions will just stay right outside your auric field, waiting for it to open up. So it doesn't disappear.
Yep. No, it does not disappear.
All right, that sounds awesome. All right, we got somebody from the 516 area code. I'm pushing, but nothing's happening. There you are, 516 area code. Hi there, how you doing?
Hello.
Are you there? Hey, what's up? It's Darlene.
Hello. Hi.
Hello,
yes. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
Oh, hi, Michelle. Hi, Elisa. Hi, Erik.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for taking my call. I'm calling regarding the scalar energy. I had it done twice. The first time it worked beautifully, and then it was maybe a year later, just I did it on February 5th with Elisa, and she said it might take up to 3 months to work, but so far nothing has really happened, and mainly I did it for my son. She suggested that I do the household scalar energy, so I didn't specifically, but it was basically for him. I've been asking Erik for many years, how do I help my son, because he's now 32 years old. He has 2 bachelor's degrees. He never worked, and he said to me he might have be on the spectrum slightly, which I would have never even thought. But I know that there's different scales of it. Sorry?
Common. It's actually very common.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't know. Like, he's a little awkward around certain people. He does have friends. He doesn't drive. He doesn't want to drive. He doesn't want to go to the doctor. He doesn't want to get diagnosed. Like, I can't, like, at this point at 32, it's like, how do I now help him? Because, he was depressed for most of his life, and I didn't know that either. He was a very happy boy. And then I think once puberty hit or something, I don't know what happened to him, but I was just wondering, is this a life contract or whatever they call it?
Well, let me ask Erik a couple of questions. Erik, is it social anxiety? Is it depression? Is it on the spectrum type thing or something else? Let's just get down to the nitty gritty.
So Erik says that he's on the spectrum. Okay. That he is, and he says that like moderate on the spectrum, because it doesn't affect everything, but he's also very empathic too.
Oh boy!
But he's very sensitive. Yes, and Erik says that he holds in a lot of self-blame. Now, there is still scalar energy in his field, because Erik just showed me, and what Erik is saying is it's because when the scalar work is done, when Elisa does it, and if it's not penetrating all the way in, so you might not notice what it's doing, it works on, like Erik will show it to me where it's like, he shows me like the layers around the body in the auric field. Right. So it's like I can see it sitting right in between the mental and the emotional field. It's actually just on the outside of the mental area. And what Erik is saying is that he needs forgiveness for himself, because he holds himself responsible in thinking he needs to be a certain way. And Erik says having acceptance for himself and how that would slow down a little bit, Erik. He says that if your son, and this is the two of you together, because part of the contract is between the two of you, and he says, there's nothing wrong with how he is, and there are some things that he won't do that Erik says maybe society thinks he needs to do, or needs to follow in a certain way.
Right.
The agreement, the spiritual agreement between the two of you is acceptance and success of how he is. So accepting how he is. And Erik says it's hard to say to a mom not to worry, but he's going to tell you not to worry, because there is success for him. And in him being able to forgive himself for what he feels he hasn't been able to do. And he says for you send that energy to your boy in acceptance and say to yourself in your mind, you say, I love you just the way that you are. And I accept you just the way that you are. And allow that to be the mantra that opens that energy up further.
Oh, Michelle and Erik, just saying that, I blame myself because I think I've been too kind, too understanding, too loving, too, you know how they say sometimes you when my kids were in school, they used to say I love them too much that I should push away. And I had breast cancer when I was 34 years old. My kids were 4 and 6. They were affected by this, and I was affected by it. That I thought I would lose them, And I thought I would lose them, so I pushed closer, and it was like a mother bear, type of thing.
Yes. Well, I understand.
And I blame myself. I think maybe that's why he's the way he is, because I
think there's no such thing as too much love.
When
my kids were 17 years old, I would have to sit in my lap. And they would moan and
Lisa, I love you so much. I want you to be my mommy. I adore you. You have so much love in your heart, and it just comes through in an email. It comes through, and I just melt. She makes me cry all the time. And Michelle, you're just the best.
Thank you.
Baby.
Thank you so
Poor
much.
darling.
Thank you.
All right,
so
darling,
you
we'll
think
stay in
he'll be
touch,
okay? I want to let you.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Yeah, he's going to be
let's
okay.
Let's stay in touch.
Yeah,
I will.
You try the mantra.
Keep us
talking
posted
about how he is whole and part of God. He is divine. He is perfect in every way, and he needs to know that. And everybody's life is not a cookie cutter, right?
That's right.
Look at
That's
Einstein.
I'm going to tell him that. Right.
Yeah.
Being just who he is, the way he is, he can love and have gratitude for who he is, because there's a lot of good stuff Erik says that he's got inside of him. There's a lot of good stuff in there. So
he's
a
good person.
Time to start looking at what's there right now and to just love all over that.
Okay, and the scalar will continue to work for him?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Thank you. The mantra. Should he?
Yeah, I will. I was listening to the other conversation. I will. I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Do you think that your son? Do you think he should, Erik, listen to this conversation on when it is posted, or not?
Not yet, Erik said.
Not yet. Okay.
All right.
Not yet.
All right, but I'll keep it. I'll keep it on the side.
Yeah, that's right. And he says, Mom will know when the time's right.
Aw. Okay. Yeah. I love you, Erik.
Yeah. He says he loves you too.
We love you too.
Oh, my heart is so full. Thank you, guys.
Oh,
I love you so much.
We love
you too. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Oh, she and I go back quite a ways. She is a delight.
Yeah.
A delight.
Sweetheart.
Such a pure and good soul, man.
Yeah.
Okay,
sure.
Let's take the next one. 209 area code. Hi there, how you doing?
Hello?
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm on. Hi,
Yay.
Elisa, Michelle, and Erik.
Hi.
Hi, this is Catherine from Atwater, California.
Okay.
How are you? Good.
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
I'm doing good. So I went through a divorce, and I haven't worked. I was a stay-at-home mom, so I haven't worked in a while. But recently I was told by a medium that I was going to have my own business soon, and I would have 5 employees, and to keep doing what I love, and it would all come together. But I just don't know which direction. Does Erik or any of my guides know, like, which direction?
What do you love?
Like,
what's your passion?
Well, I like making jewelry, and I also like designing, like, solar LED lights, like backyard landscaping. And I was told I was a teacher healer, so I don't know if it's going to be in that direction or if my employees are going to be my children. So,
what do you think, Erik?
Wow. Okay. So I'll tell you a couple things, because Erik's given me, like, he's shooting all over the place, showing me all these different areas that you've got stuff going on. And so I asked him, I said, can we focus on which one's going to be the best? And he says, well, okay. He says that your art, and he's calling all of the jewelry, like everything that you make, he's calling it art. And so whatever you're making, do you say you're making lights?
Well, I just like designing them in the backyard, like the solar lights, the different colors and stuff. They come on, when it gets dark.
Yes.
And,
yes. Okay.
But that's like a big project, so that would be a lot of work to get inventory and stuff.
Yeah.
But
okay.
jewelry, I make crystal.
Yeah. Okay, because the jewelry, the first thing he showed me, because the jewelry, he says, you are a healer. And he goes, and a teacher, I mean, we're all teachers because we're all teaching something to ourselves and to each other. But he says you are a healer and you're a teacher, but you're also what he's calling like a sharer, or like sharing in consciousness. And so he says that you have a way of infusing your jewelry with healing.
I was going to say that.
You
what
can,
about from Reiki-infused jewelry? That'd be so cool.
Yeah, he mentioned Reiki also, because I wanted to take a Reiki class, and he said that would come in. Yeah. So you think it's the jewelry that I'm supposed to go in that direction?
he wants to also tell you too, he goes, listen, he says, there's more available to you if you want to accept it. And what he means by that is that, this is a direction that you can go that's going to help give you some focus. But he said that you'll grow. It's not only going to be jewelry. You'll grow.
Oh.
And he says, so keep yourself open. He says, like, when we start to focus in a direction, that direction may start to change over time. And that's a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
But he says, let that be part of your journey to explore. He does say that your children, do you have 3?
Yes.
Okay, because two are lighting up as part of your, part of your business more so, but there's people outside of your family that he showed me that will come along board to help you later on down the road. But he says something you could do now that you could start looking into is if you're selling your jewelry already, because he says you can right now infuse energy, take Reiki, infuse that energy into the jewelry and sell it right now, and then keep working, because he says right now your soul is helping you with perseverance and then helping you work through adversity, which we all do to a degree. But he says when you feel like you're getting a roadblock, he goes, I want you to think of it as an opportunity.
Okay.
Yeah, not a block, an opportunity. You remind me of my eldest daughter. An anesthesiologist couldn't stand the politics because, they're big groups, right? And and they're giving all the stuff to nurse anesthetists because they want to save money. So anyway, she started a candle business, and it is so wildly successful. Her tagline is drops faster, sells out faster than a Nike drop. I mean, she'll make 600 candles and they're gone in 90 seconds, really. But she works
awesome.
but then she started with regular candles, and she does wax melts, and she's just like what we're talking about, expanding. She makes much more money than, definitely more than I do, but more than she did as an anesthesiologist. So that's cool.
Wow. That's amazing.
Go check out her site, guys.
Okay.
So you can learn from that, girl. It's AE because it's Nordic luxury candles. AE, but the AE is one letter, right? And then MBR, not ER, but BR.com. And you can learn a lot from how she works things. Let that be a template for you.
Awesome.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Does he know about how long it will take? Like 3 years, 1 year?
What he's saying is that it depends on how much you put into it, how much focus, as he said. So to really give you a guideline, if you keep persevering and work at it, you'll have results in a year's time.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Erik.
You're welcome. He says you're welcome.
Good luck.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cool. All righty. I want to see some of her jewelry. Send me pictures.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, okay, 515 area code. Hi, how are you?
Lisa from Iowa. Good, Lisa from Iowa. How are you?
Hi, Lisa from Iowa. How you doing?
Wonderful. I'm kind of stunned to be on again.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. I don't have anything. I have no questions. So let's I was enjoying listening. The only thing I can think of is like my dad and stepmom are in really, really poor health right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not close to them.
Yeah.
But I just am I cut out of the inheritance, or do they still have me in? I was one of those empath kids that was always told too sensitive, no support.
God.
Yeah, I always felt like he's cut me out.
Yeah. Welcome to the hell that is my life.
I know.
Parents, I was the only one that took care of them, but at the end, they gave it to the black sheep of the family that was the most difficult child.
And I am the type. If he
Did
called
you-
and needed help, I'd help him to the end of his life because that's who I am. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. That is showing me is so like there's something that and I don't know what the situation is with him, but it's like something's going on with the will, and I don't know if he's actually taking you off, but Erik says that he wants effort from your direction. And it's not that is necessarily right to do for you, but what he's saying is he's just giving me like the expectation from his mind. Now, he says that to have a little patience, because I don't know what it is, but there's something that's going to change. And it does come from a situation or some situations that arise that may draw you towards him or to the both of them. What Erik said would help is to work on an energetic level. And I don't know what the forgiveness is, because there's something that your dad is holding on to that he's having trouble forgiving himself for.
He stabbed my mom when I was 11, and I saved her life.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Yeah, and I felt I wasn't alone. I felt like it was either Jesus. I mean, I had strength, and that 11-year-old shouldn't have. Yeah.
Dang. What a story.
He's really like there's some things coming up in him, and it's not all conscious, but there's some hard things going on with them, and it comes from what's going on inside. And what Erik just says is for you, speak to his higher self energetically, or write a letter to his higher self. And if you feel that there's anything that you'd like to say to him, because he will receive that energetically. Because there is there's a cycle occurring right now. So don't be surprised if you don't hear something or find out that he needs some kind of assistance or help, like with his health.
Yeah, no, I mean, I can see that coming, but nobody calls me. So I always hear it like a week later.
Yeah,
I think hard, like thinking about you, because I am.
Yeah, well, and that's right. And that's why do write to him energetically, because I'm telling you, it does make a difference, because he will feel it, and that will also make a difference to Erik says it changes what happens in reality, because when we start to change the energy towards somebody, like when we start to kind of smooth those pathways, then that starts to change the reality that we experience. So you just might get a phone call from somebody. You might get a phone call from him, from your stepmom, from somebody.
Yeah. I just keep, like when it happens for him, I think he's so miserable right now. I'm afraid he's going to be like darkness for a long time. Healing.
Yeah. Maybe.
So.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for calling, Lisa.
There's some healing that needs to happen. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Wow, what a story. Gosh.
Yeah, wow.
That one from the 757 area code. Hey there, how you doing?
Hello, Michelle. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Erik. This is Andre from Virginia Beach.
Hello.
The topic is very important, and everything what you, Michelle, just explained to me, it's very well described. My son, he's 5, and he's very anxious when he's around like many people, many kids. We already changed 2 schools. We tried like gymnastics, karate, like all these classes and stuff, and he always feel like an anxiety, separation and stuff. I remember myself and my wife sitting behind the door, like behind the school door, like on the backyard, so my son could attend the school. He was, so anxious to be, separated, to be alone with the different people. So I have to me or my wife has to be constantly just behind the door, like during this COVID thing especially. We're just standing there like it's winter time, but we have to do something. So what like I understand that helping him like everything what you described like is very well described. Like what I'm trying to teach him, like, because I'm seeing that he's so afraid of his emotions and he doesn't distinguish them. he's reading my wife like open book. He reads her energy so well, then he starts speaking her thoughts. You know, that's amazing to me. I'm always like, oh, you're telepathic. You just read my mind. Yeah, and so sometimes I see him kind of get disconnected from all of these emotions because he gets overwhelmed like by the end of the day. And I'm like, sometimes, you know, his soul gets disconnected from his body, then, you know, I'm seeing he's hungry and I'll see he needs to use the toilet or something, but he waits until the last minute, you know, like he's hungry, like, you know, he couldn't wait anymore. Like, I'm trying to do it like a yoga or something to connect his head, like to his emotions, to his feelings, to, you know, to his head, so he can start feeling them and understand them, you know, to this kind of point. And he's already 5. And for us, it's very hard to...
Andre, I'm looking at online. There are so many coloring books about emotions and feelings, friendship, you know, social and emotional intelligence. Here's one called the Angry Ninja Activity Book, Feelings Coloring Books, just a whole bunch. The Magic, I can't read it, something or other. But yeah, look it over so that, you know, he can color and he can draw also, things like this. Oh my
that's what I'm looking for, some kind of practical advice. That's what I'm looking for, some kind of practical advice.
Erik says nature for your son too, Andre. Yeah, because he says that he goes up into the upper chakras and he does disconnect from the body. And so for him, grounding is so important.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Andre. Good luck.
All right. Thank you.
You'll be fine.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Let's see. You got somebody from the 318 area code. Hi there. Hi. 318.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
That's me?
Can hear you.
Hey,
yep.
Good. So I'm from Louisiana. My name is Jo. I've actually been on the show once before. But there was a caller earlier talking about, I don't know, career change and stuff. So I was hoping to talk to Erik about my daughter has, and I messaged her right away, and I said they're talking about empathic children, and she was like, you know, these children are getting a bath, so that's a no-go. So get on and listen. I was like, oh, I'll send it to you later. So, but anyway, she's an attorney. She's on the real estate end of it and stuff. But you know, she sent me a picture of her desk the other day. She works from home, and it's just you know, crystals and you know, a rosary, all this stuff. But she's very gifted.
I will try anything. That's a mom that says, I will try anything, even if I have to use it.
Oh, no, she was, you know, she's just super funny about all that. And when I was on before, it was because I spoke to my son who left last May, and he said that they were going to write a book together, he and my daughter, at that time. Cool. But also, I just see her, I mean, she enjoys what she does, and she's successful at what she does, but I just see her talents elsewhere. Is there a part of law that could be successful at from our spiritual standpoint? You know, like environmental. Her name is Leslie. And yeah, is there something like any kind of suggestions, like she has her older son, he's 5, is very empathic, and she's, you know,
she's got a little one.
Yeah, 2-year-old and a 5-year-old, and so she's always trying to, you know, cushion the blows for me.
Yeah.
You know, so, but I thought, you know, Erik might know or Michelle might about, you know, if there's a different direction for her that would benefit other people, other children, because she's very gifted.
Cool.
Gosh, well, she is, like, when you said with law, what Erik said was family. With family.
Okay.
in that department. Now, he says, you are right. There's more to her. And he also says she's in this space right now where the focus really is on being a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, her purpose with the kids. But that's going to shift. Because as the kids start to grow, and Erik says it's the experiences that the kids have that will start to give her ideas.
Okay.
Well, I mean, there's all sorts of things like working with kids that fall in the Disabilities Education Act that are not getting what they need. There's a book called The Children's Bill of Emotional Rights. That looks interesting. I'm just looking. And then there's children's law, globalhumanrights.org, children's and youth rights. Support our work empowering local activists, ensuring children's rights to rights are protected, blah, blah, blah. So there are lots of things that she Googled.
That could that could be a direction. Yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah.
Erik says it'll happen organically.
Yeah. I believe that. Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, it was really nice to talk to you guys, and I appreciate what you do for us.
Nice to talk to you.
Oh, nice to talk to you too.
Okay.
Make sure she cleans behind the ears.
Okay.
When she bathes them.
Okay, Doctor. I will tell her that. Thank you, guys.
No, I'm just teasing. Thank you. All right. We've got somebody from the 732 area code. Hey, what's up? Hi there.
Hi, boy, what an interesting topic tonight. Thank you so much for bringing it to everyone's attention.
So many cool stories too,
Yeah. My name is Melissa from Toms River, New Jersey, and my son has ADHD. He struggles because the children in his resource classes, they have a lot of emotional problems, and it makes it very difficult because his main problem is focus. He has a bit of a learning disability, which is really sad because when he is on medication, which we cannot find one that really works well for him, he is such a loving, wonderful, wonderful boy, and when he's not on it, he is frustrated and has so much frustration and difficulty, and my heart breaks for him because I'm trying to love him and show him peace, and then he gets mad at me because I'm happy and I should be sad and match his sadness, and he doesn't understand. So any direction you have, I mean, I'm trying to lift his vibrations, but in doing so, I'm almost making it worse because I don't want him to bring me down, but I don't know what to do. I would love advice to see what you think is best.
Well, it's interesting because ADHD, usually there's a defective gene, the DRD2 gene, that makes it difficult for neurons to respond to dopamine. So dopamine is the neurotransmitter that needs to be addressed, and that is involved in feelings of pleasure and the regulation of attention. So there's all sorts of stuff that you might want to look into, and supplements that may be able to help him that are more natural. Like I don't know if they do this for kids, but L-tyrosine is the building block for dopamine. And a lot of these things, they just increase the reuptake of dopamine, but nothing increases the dopamine because there's not enough tyrosine to make anymore. So, they've been trying this on at least adults with ADHD, taking L-tyrosine, but, you might want to investigate that,
Thank you.
I think GABA might be another neurotransmitter involved, but I don't know.
Is there a male in spirit that you have? Because there's a male that's there in spirit helping, and it feels like a father or a grandfather. I don't know if it's your father. Is your father in spirit?
My father is not. His father, my grandfather, is. My two grandfathers are, and I took in my in-laws, which I had my father-in-law in our house, and he passed in February. So I don't know which particular grandpa it is.
That's who it is. It's who passed in February. Because there's some connection to your son in feeling spirit as well, because he's got not only is he empathic, but he's got a lot of spirit energy around him. Erik is saying that, like, this is part of his purpose, what he's experiencing right now, and his goal right now is happiness. The soul is helping him with finding happiness, but finding happiness through experiencing what peace doesn't feel like, if that makes sense. Erik also saying that there's a little bit of a challenge with friendships right now as well.
Yeah.
So, like a challenge with making friendships, because he says that there's a connection that's coming for him that is a friendship connection, which is going to make a big difference for him as well. And the other thing Erik is saying is that creatively, he's creative, and Erik's showing me being able to use paint or being able to express creatively. And he's even showing me, like, building on a game, like on a gaming system. So how old is he?
He does have art. He's 11. He'll be 12 in May. And thank you, Skippy, which is my father-in-law. Thank you for being around him and helping. I know Steve, his actual son, my son's father, who, of course, we're all together, did have a lot of stresses in life. And their relationship wasn't always very good. So when we took in my father-in-law, the relationship between Norman and my husband Steve was not easy. And to know that Norman is looking after my son is so beautiful. It really is so beautiful. Thank you, Norman.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
And Erik, maybe you could take him under your wing too. You know,
he says he's already doing it. He's already doing it.
Yes. Thank you, Erik.
Yes.
I appreciate you being there for me and for my son, because to have you guys on our team spiritually is such a miracle. Thank you so much.
He loves you all. Always. He loves you all, always. Yeah.
I love you guys too.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Well, we love you too.
Yeah, we love you. All right, looks like we only have 90 seconds, so we will say goodbye. You guys check out Michelle. You know, she's quite the artist too, and she does a lot of healing through art. That's why her site is called thehealing-art.com. Get it? The Healing
That's
Art.
Right.
Anyway, and Erik, thank you so much, my love.
Oh, he says, I love you, Mom. He says that he loves working with you. He just wants to let you know that he just has an awesome time working with you. He loves you so much.
I do. It's awesome. All right, and thank you for helping your brother Lucas.
Of course.
He got back, so he's really enjoyed that. All right, thank you, guys.
Perfect.
Bye.
Hey, thanks, everybody. Love you.
Love you all.